I'm Daniel, and this is Estelle. As we produce this film series, it has been a joy, but also a real challenge. A few years back, Estelle was diagnosed with a critical condition, and to this day has not fully recovered. In the process, we realized that faith does not remove difficult moments. Faith is given to help us see. Fragrance of Faith is a documentary series of unique and authentic stories. You will hear from people who bring God's kingdom in different spheres of society. Our feet walked on all kinds of lands and saw the beauty of so many cultures. Famous or unknown, we find out about their journey of obedience, faith, perseverance, and trials. We will discover transformed lives and see the impact those have on society and nations. In this episode, we encounter people that have risked their lives and others that have lost loved ones. Get ready as we face some intense moments.
Until the aircraft has come to a complete and final stop, and the captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign. This will be your indication it is safe to get up. At that time,
we had a great 2 weeks of freedom in Iran. Very, very blessed by the nation. Upon leaving, that's when everything changed. We were leaving on our normal bus, going back to this city called Ashgabat, and at the border, they took me and my friend's passport. Without any explanation, everyone on the bus got their passport back, continued on their journey, but me and my friend waited. Finally, many hours later, and the bus had long gone, the leaders came to us and said, "We're so sorry, but there's been a problem with your passport," and said, "We want to talk to you privately." And when I got private, that's when they started to beat me. Six hours, hitting me in the face, spitting on me, kicking me. They finally brought me down to the lobby where I had entered the building. They had been doing the same to my friend in another room. There, they took our glasses away, they blindfolded us, and then they put me into one prison cell, and my friend into another one, and without any explanation, we were in prison. The light was on 24 hours a day in my cell. I'm always hearing other prisoners yelling or screaming, and that was my new world. The worst torture was internal, in your mind and in your heart, knowing that they have total control over you. They can beat you for no reason, they can hate you for no reason, and you're stuck. So my first prayer was, "God, how long will I be there?" And I'm not always hearing God, but that day I did feel something in my heart, and it was these simple words, "You'll be here for 9 weeks." I'm like, this is not God, and I do not want this to be God. Maybe I got part of it right, like 9 minutes. And with that came 1 or 2 hours of sleep a night, a total restlessness in my heart, like, where am I, what am I doing? And I couldn't handle it. And it broke me again and again and again. But it was the very first day that something else started happening. And I felt like God spoke to my heart and said, "I want to teach you to love your enemies." And I remember when that hit me, I'm like, this is not the time. I do not want to love this guy. There is no way I could love him. And he said this, he said, Dan, ask me what I think of him. I said, God, I want to be overwhelmed by you, not by my pain, not by my questions, not by my anxieties. As time went on, they kept beating me, but the anguish of it became less because the love of God for this man got greater. But it was on that day, I said, sir, if I'm going to see you every day the rest of my life, why don't we become friends? And as I continued, I finally put out my hand and I said, sir, today things change and let's be friends. And when I did that, that's when he froze. And as he froze, he started to shake. And then he took a hand out of his pocket and he shook my hand. When he shook my hand, he held it really, really tight. As he wouldn't let go, all of a sudden tears started to come down his face. He said, Dan, my name is Razak, and I would love to be your friend. There is no heart too hard for Jesus.
During his time there, some prison guards met Jesus. And exactly as God had spoken, 9 weeks later, Dan was released from prison. It took him some time to recover from the trauma, but this was not enough for him to give up.
But on so much of suffering, there's not a clear path. And my journey has been many things where there wasn't a clear path.
Dan has survived many life-threatening injuries, often facing close calls with death.
Why would God allow this to happen? That's really not the question at hand. The question is he with me? And is he good now? And does he love me? And trying to figure things out was a part of my problem. It takes a lot of, it's at the core of humility, actually. Because there's something in our heart that has to let go of why, which is control. It's okay, I don't know. I'll never know. I can't figure this out. I might never figure this out.
Dan's thought-provoking questions have impacted young people all around the globe. As a popular speaker, his books have sold over 80,000 copies in 8 languages. He has inspired many to deal with their fears and know who God really is.
So many are like, if I just do a little bit more, life will be better. If I just do a little bit more, God will love me more. If I just do this, then it'll work out. No, it's unconditional. There is nothing we can do in our entire life that will make God love us more than he loves us right now. Like the love of God is an unending ocean. And he wants us to discover it again and again and again and again. I have friends who tell me, when you get to heaven, Dan, you can finally ask. The reality is when I get to heaven, I won't want to ask. We'll be overwhelmed by how beautiful Jesus is.
Everyone has obedience, but it's your choice whether to be obedient or not to him. Cha 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 When you're sad, you feel all down and feel bad about yourself, but when you're happy, it feels like you haven't got a care in the world. Like, you're just like, oh yeah, I can do anything, I feel so good right now. If I had to have a superpower, it would probably invincibility. Nothing could touch me. I'd have to wait until I die to die. That would be really cool because you could go into anything and just say, hey, I'm just gonna walk into a bullet, nothing's gonna hurt me.
Louis had faced grief when he was only 6. Tragically, his dad took his own life. Behind a fun and goofy kid, we found a broken heart.
He was so close to me that whatever he did for me, it felt like it made a huge difference. Say I was like really sad, then he'd like pick me up again, almost. I was sad for quite a while. I remember when I was 5, just how fun he was. Like, he was creative, he was sporty, he was just like me. Yeah. We throw a rugby ball around through the hallway, we'd do Lego together, we'd watch movies. Yeah, we just generally would look after each other. To the fathers, I'd say, spend time with your sons and daughters, because when you die, that's all they'll have left of you, it's memories. When I was little, my dad used to take me out for ice cream, and that's still a memory for me because it made me happy. I just spent time alone a lot. I just wanted to be with myself. Question what was happening and like why this was happening to me, not anyone else. I got angry at God a lot. I was just like, why did this happen to me? And you say you're such a good father, and then you let my earthly dad go. I mean, come on. And I just spent hours on end just crying and being so angry. I realized that if I was gonna stay this way, I was never gonna have any more happiness in my life. So that's why I stopped being angry and was like, okay, one person gone, I've still got a life, I'm gonna live it. Not miss out on opportunities, not miss out on the greatest things in life, to not miss out on the things that I like. I've still got plans, a future, a hope.
Sometimes trials come early in life. With the help of family and friends who showed God's love, Louis was met in his pain, and his hope was restored. Listening to his life process, we were brought back to our childlike heart, a faith that pleases God. We met Abby, a photographer with the University of the Nations. She had testimonies from around the world. We loved hearing her fearless adventures.
Everyone around me was saying, "You're crazy for going to Nigeria by yourself." Praying one night, I remembered this small voice just telling me, "You're gonna go alone." And I knew inside of my spirit that it was God, but it didn't make any sense. Why would a single white female go to Nigeria, of all places, by herself? The week before I was leaving for Nigeria, Darlene Cunningham had come and had brought a whole bunch of blue pants that a school in Hilo had given her and donated. And so we wondered, like, what are we gonna do with all of these pants? My friend Paul was like, "Hey, you should take them to all of the orphans in Nigeria." So when I get to the airport, my contact picks me up, and what I didn't know is that you then had to take a 3-hour van ride to where the base actually was in Jos. It was crazy. You drive for 3 hours, and they're moving back and forth, trying to not hit the potholes. And it's hot, and I'm crammed, and I can't move my legs because everything is stuffed. And then by the end, it's completely dark, and I have no idea where I am. I get to the base, I'm talking to the base leader's wife, and we're talking about how they've taken in all of these 100 orphans and that they've started school for them, but that they don't have uniforms because they can't afford it right now, so all of the kids are just in their normal clothes, and they actually don't have very many pieces of clothes. I was like, "Hey, I have pants for all of the orphans. Let me just go get them right now." I walk to my room, pull out the big suitcase, and I just open it. And the base leader's wife is like, "What? Like, these are the exact color and style of pants that we've been praying for. And we literally told the Lord last week that that's what we wanted." And I was just in shock, like, what? We start counting them and realize, wait, how many boys are actually in the school? So we send someone to go find out the exact total of boys that are in the school, and he runs back and tells us, and then we count them all, and we realize that we have the exact same number of pants for every single boy. And we're just so excited. Perseverance is taking risks, never giving up on them, even when it gets hard and is uncomfortable. I always wanted to do all three together: photography, design, and missions. And I never wanted photography to be something that I just got to do for fun or for myself. The end goal is always that people get to meet Jesus in a new way and get to experience him and know that he sees them and that he values them and that their stories are worth being told.
Abby had so many portraits of those she met. There were as many stories as there were beautiful people.
I decided to go to Nigeria to see where God wants us to start the work. I was with my friend John Azuka, and I was so happy to go back to Togo and tell my wife that this was the place to start the work. And as we was going back, we took a bus in the night. You don't have any air condition, it's very rough, it's very hard, it's very hot, and everybody was in the rush to go back quickly to Lagos because it was very dark, and in Nigeria, the roads are not secure. To travel by night is very dangerous. When we arrived close to Benin City, our bus saw a bus that had a flat tire. It was around 6 o'clock, 6:30 in the evening. And suddenly I feel that God said to me, Paul came down from this bus. I was feeling uncomfortable to stay and sit in that bus. It was so clearly, Paul come down from this bus. I stood up, people was resisting me. They were saying, sit down, sit down, sit down. You're going to waste our time. I said to John, it's better for us to obey God than obeying these people that are trying to make us sit down. Some was very angry at us. Some was abusing us with words. They was insulting us, but we didn't listen. We just came down from the bus. And suddenly, I saw a car. It's a Volvo car that it was going very slowly. And this attracted my attention. And I said, what is he doing? And then suddenly he turned off his light. He stopped. I said to John, are you seeing what is coming? There's people with automatic weapon coming. It was armed robbers. I jumped in the bush, and my friend John also jumped in the bush because we couldn't scream for the people to, because these people was really in action to shoot. The bush was so thick that I couldn't run. I have to start crawling underground. And these people come and start shooting at the bus. And they realized there was some movement, and they shoot in the forest. But we wasn't running, we was crawling. No bullet came to us. It was just passing over her head. We hearing screaming, and that day many people died. In the middle of the forest, I was lost. And I was just putting my trust in God as I was running. And suddenly I heard that voice saying to me, do you really want to come in this place? You know you can lose your life here. Your wife can die here, your children can die here. This is a dangerous place. Trying to bring fear into my heart. And I started rebuking the spirit of fear in the name of Jesus. And then suddenly I heard God, the gentle voice of God telling me, are you really ready to come? I said, yes, Lord. In that forest, I took the decision to come to Nigeria. Anywhere I go and I see they say gangsters, I feel in my heart to reach out to them. And funny enough, when I go try reaching out to them, they open their heart, they sit down and listen. Every militant or rebel, they have war names. And Akintola came to militancy when he was 12 years old. From there, they trained them, and he was part of one of the big militant group. After fighting in Libya for many years, many of his friends that went with him died in the war zone. But there was 9 bullet wounds in his body. And when he came back, his boss took all the money that Gaddafi gave to him, and he became so angry he went to create his own group. And his own group became one of a very dangerous group that introduced beheading in Nigeria.
Others hit by the recent fighting came out of their houses and cheered as the militants arrived.
Going, destroying and killing, and they was looking everywhere for him. Until one of the Wawamers talked to him. They was rebel together. And he was able to share his testimony, how he came to Wawam and his life was transformed. And Akintola gave his life to Jesus. One day he was in the hospital and they was operating him to remove one of the bullets that was still in his body. And he turned and started talking to the doctor about Jesus. Before the doctor finished the operation, the doctor gave his life to Jesus. And then he called us from the hospital and said, I have someone I want to introduce to you. Is this doctor? And he's challenged the doctor to come and do DTS because God transformed his life in DTS.
I think it must have been so overwhelming for them that people can say, I love you, I care for you. We feed them, we sit eating at the same tables with them, we're walking together, we work together, we play together. So I think this must have been overwhelming for them, you know. And so they begin to react in the same way. And as they were receiving the teachings, you know, about the Father heart of God, that shocked them the most, that shake them the most. They were weeping. These people that were killing others, they were weeping. They were lying out on the ground. As when they were praying, they were so sincere. They were telling God exactly what they feel. Then they cry and said, oh God, I have killed so many people. Oh, please, can you forgive me?
It's God that changed it, God that did it. More than 2/3 of my staff today are ex-rebels and militants. The DTS leaders, the worship leaders, they are all ex-rebels and ex-militant and ex-cultists. I listened to one message one day that really challenged me. The God that loved the bad boys.
Our friend Susie was also in Port Harcourt. She was there as a photographer to report about the work they are doing amongst the widows. We cannot describe how awful the hostilities have been for these women. All of them have lost their husbands in war atrocities. The miracle is that you find ex-rebels and victims living side by side. They have decided to forgive each other. They pray with boldness for Nigeria and can't stop sharing the gospel. God has done such a transformation. Back in Europe, we phoned Paul in Africa. His wife Rachel answered. There had been a kidnapping attempt.
I stood between Paul and the guns, and I said, if you want to shoot him, shoot me first.
Rebels had entered their house, pointing their guns onto Paul's face. Rachel explains how he miraculously escaped the situation.
And Paul said to me, Rachel, go into the house. I went into the house.
The criminals were captured by the Nigerian Special Forces, and Paul was asked to confirm their identity. On arrival, they were being severely tortured, but Paul begged the guards to stop. He saved their lives. As we reflect on these breathtaking stories, we are amazed by Paul and Rachel's lives. They had new stories every time. What heroes of faith.
I think everybody have a special calling. You have a special calling, I have a special calling. Somebody say, I'm not jealous of your calling because I don't want your calling. And I say, that's wonderful.
As we're filming this series, Estelle is still battling with her health. During her time unwell, she had a vision of heaven. It was so beautiful and peaceful. She asked God to take her there, but she heard, "Live and persevere." That word came like a seed. She planted it in dry soil and had faith that our Heavenly Father would make it grow. The series you are now watching is a part of that journey of faith. We went to see a friend that was also working at the university. It was nice to see Nadia again. We talked about our lives and the struggles we face on our journey. Everyone can relate to difficult moments in life, and she had helpful insights.
There's just battles in your life that nobody knows and nobody fully understands. I entered this journey of trial and what I call wilderness. It's this desert in many ways, like with sickness and confusion and depression and stuff like that. I am a broken human being. I'm never gonna be fully perfect, you know? Like, I need to take these expectations out of myself. I'm never gonna be fully spiritual because I cannot detach myself of my, like, emotions and my flesh and my spirit. It's the soul, the mind, and the heart. And that's why I love the wilderness, because the wilderness is you with a mirror. It's just like you and yourself and God. And in there, you have to face who you truly are. I remember sitting down one night and analyzing all the death in my life, all the thinking that I had of death and everything that was painful. It's almost like the day that I embraced suffering was the day that I started living again. I took myself out of the center. It's not that I cannot suffer. You know, I have the right to suffer and I have the right to question, but I'm not in the center anymore. It's not about me. It's how can I get this that I'm going through turn into a lesson that can make other people grow, that can water other people's lives. What are the fruits that you're bearing out of your heart? Because I feel like when you have unforgiveness, bitterness, you know, like whining, complaint, people will see that. Like that's the fruits that you're gonna bear. Like you might try to hide, you might try to perform, but that's the fruits. That's what you're bearing outside. I just felt this challenge and I drew. So I drew a golden heart. And I did upside down with some flowers coming out of it. And that day I made a challenge to myself. I was like, I will bear good fruits from my heart. Doesn't matter the stage in life that I'm in. I may be really happy, you know, like enjoying, or I may be suffering, but the fruits have to be good.
We're back at Lauren and Darlene's house. They are the founders of Youth with a Mission, a movement that has catalyzed millions of young people into action around the globe. A year earlier, Lauren, her husband, had passed away.
Lauren's body was literally riddled with cancer. When you saw his x-rays, it looked like somebody had just spilled ink all over it. I mean, there's just little black spots everywhere. And I can remember walking out there just really crying out to the Lord. And I came back and Lauren saw I'd been crying. He said, "It's gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay." I said, "Oh, sure, it's gonna be really okay for you. What about me?" You have to tutor yourself in that. It's not like every day you wake up and you're full of faith and grace. I remember the oncologist doctor saying, "Now, how are you handling the pain?" And he said, "I don't have any pain." And he just couldn't believe it. So that was just absolutely wonderful of the Lord. Obviously, we're aware that Lauren's time was coming close. It was soon. And his voice was less strong than it had been at 4 a.m. I heard in this natural speaking voice of his, which he was not using at all, it was very, very quiet. "The days of my life have come to an end." And I jumped out of the bed, thought, "Is this it?" And it wasn't, but exactly 24 hours later, he went to be with the Lord. He was so ready. He was so ready. Heaven was so, so real. When I'm scared and don't know what to do, I try to quote back scriptures to God and say, "Okay, God, I don't understand this. You say you're kind and just. By the way, this doesn't feel kind or just, but it doesn't have to do anything with my feelings. That's who you say you are. You didn't promise us that it was always going to be victory for us. We're not living for this moment. We're living for when we walk with you eternally." Before Lauren went, Lauren talked to me, many other people talked to me and said, "You are a strong person. You'll be able to handle this." And then you'll remember that after, just a month after Lauren went to be with the Lord is when I started getting sick. And I've had a whole year of really serious kind of sickness. In and out of the hospital and surgeries and COVID and pneumonia. I mean, it was just like whatever it was, it got thrown on me. And everybody saying, "Oh, you're such a strong person." And I was in the hospital. And I thought, I don't want one more person to tell me how strong I am. I have never felt less strong. And a medical person, a nurse, came in the door. I'd not seen her before. And she said, "As I walked in this door, I felt strength. There's strength in this room. You are a strong person." And she left. And I said, "Okay, God, if you say that about me and you're having everybody else confirm about it, then I jolly well better call myself to attention and lean in on the strength." Reminded of Romans 12, where it talks about all the various gifts and how it gives you a grace with that gift. And it also, he'll give you faith for it, that seed that went into the ground, that we were going to have good fruit from it.
We're thankful for the fruit that has come to maturity. Even if some seasons are different, God gave us his peace so we may live with faith. A peace that surpasses all understanding. We have understood that death has no victory. Death has no sting. is the fragrance of faith.